There's a common misconception about the role of your wrist when you hit a forehand. A lot of people think that you're supposed to snap your wrist as you hit the tennis ball, but that's not what's happening. When you swing forward, your wrist gets into a position that you keep before, at, and a little bit through contact. So let's look at Frank hitting a forehand and see if that holds true. As he swings forward, he lays that wrist back, and then he's going to keep this wrist position through contact. So he swings forward, he makes contact, frees it here. He's got that same wrist position, the wrist is laid back, and then into his follow-through, he still keeps that wrist position, the ball's well off his strings, and it's not till about now that his wrist starts to release. Again, he's following through and trying to check the time on an imaginary wristwatch. So let's now look at a different forehand. This is Oliver, and he's going to be hitting what's called a windshield wiper forehand in this clip, and that's where you get a lot of the misconception because you finish lower, so it looks like you're snapping your wrist to finish low. But again, the wrist is going to stay in the same position through contact. So he's swinging forward, he lays that wrist back, he makes contact, he's still got that same wrist position, there wasn't any movement before and up to contact. The racket is going to vibrate a little bit as the ball comes off his string, so it's recoiling, but he's not using his wrist. And then it's not till about here that he releases that wrist as he follows through. Now, it might look like there's a little bit more movement with his arm in the racket because he's rotating at his shoulder. He's rotating his arm and his racket as a unit, and that's why it looks like there's more movement with the tennis racket. So let's play it one more time, and the wrist stays laid back, but again, don't confuse shoulder rotation with using his wrist. He makes contact with the tennis ball, and then into his follow-through, there he releases the racket, and that's why he finishes a little bit lower. Oh.